Hi everyone, how are you today? I will just get myself up here on the page because I need to be on the right page so that I can be seen. And that way I can get to see your comments as well. Okay, that need to be on the right page so that I can be seen. And turn my sound down because you don't want to hear my voice echoing. Hello and welcome. It's a nice day again. The wind is a bit cold. Hi Jacinta, how are you? Having your lunch break? So it's nice and windy outside. My washing's blowing away outside, which is great. I'm getting it clean and enjoying it. So it's been a great weekend, as you may have seen. Demonstrators around the world got together for an event which was demonstrator only, and your washing's having a good swing around too, is it, Jacinta? At least it'll be dry. So as I said, we as a demonstrators, we got to enjoy Creativity Now and had a great time, and I will show you the cards that we've done. So this was a sneak peek into a new set that's coming up in our new catalogue, in our mini catalogue. Now, I don't know if I've forgotten. My name's Anita Mazzero. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Horsham, Victoria. Feel free to share my video and feel free to let people know that I'm here. So it's really great. So anyway, that's where we're at today. So how about if I turn you down and we can get started? Just one moment. Okay, there's my desk. My camera looks like it's not quite right. A little bit of a shadow sitting there. Get that out of the way. Yep. And just had one of those days today, so I'm a little bit out of whack, everybody. So please bear with me. So as I said, we had a great weekend for demonstrators, and it's certainly a wonderful thing. So I did post the pictures of these cards on my page. So I thought, you've got to set up your glass mat. Oh, Jacinta, once you start using your glass mat, it does not make you want to go back to paper. And hi Kay, it's a great segue to let people know that the glass mat that was available as a demonstrator starting kit, it will be available from the 3rd of July for customers. So if you are interested in one and would like to get one, be ready to get it straight away because it will only be while stocks last. Anyway, here's some of the cards, some of the projects that we did on the Creativity Now. It was using a lovely set called, I'll just drop that down a little bit more, a lovely set called Winterly Treetops. And yes, so it's a beautiful little set. So we played with birds and had a lot of, and this is done exactly as they told us to do. But I want to play with it because I feel I can do a lot more. So that's a cute little one. And I didn't have any cherry cobbler, so I had to use real red. Improvise the way to go. There's another one. It's using these beautiful birds. They're really lovely, and I want to be able to play and use more colours. Then we had this one, and I know when I want to do this one again, I want something in the background because I feel the background, it's losing something. So that's where I'm wanting to go with that one. And then we made a little box, and unfortunately I stuck my hand in it and I've splashed it everywhere. So we made this cute little box, and decorated it up with using the enamel effects. Just smeared across the top and looks so effective. So that's these. Just pop that in your screen so you can see. I'm forgetting that, you know, I get here on my own and I totally forget sometimes. So you can get that way. Hello, Lucia. Yeah, I agree with you. This set, when I received it, I looked at it and I thought, yeah, okay. And even when I was cutting the cardstock for the day, I thought, oh, I don't know. But yes, there's a lot of scope in this one, and certainly looking forward to it. We were given 2 more projects to do, but unfortunately I had that much on yesterday that I didn't get an opportunity to do anything. And today, lack of sleep is not helping me at all. So anyway, what we're going to do today is I'm going to do a card using this Simply Zinnias, or the Flowering Zinnia Suite. So that's the stamp set. And wait till you see the paper. Get rid of the stamp set for a minute. We'll talk about that in a moment. But have a look at this paper. Oh, you haven't done them either, Lucia? No, I think by the time we're at my uplines, and so it's a good 3/4 of an hour's drive, and so by the time I got home, I sort of, yeah, no. Anyway, and talk about you, Lucia. You were the one that sold me on this set. I saw it on our online exclusives and thought, nah, it's not me, but Lucia did a couple of beautiful cards, and yeah, I have now been sold. So there's one page with these beautiful flowers, and then you've got a much more subdued background piece on the opposite side. Then we have this one, which when you chop it in half, really, in my opinion, if you want quick card making, this is a great way to do it. You just cut it down, cut it into a card front, mount it onto a layer, pop it on your card, and you've even probably got room, if you cut it correctly, you can stamp without doing another layer. Really lovely and really pretty, and I love, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera, if I bring it a little bit closer, you may be able to see just how the detail in those little stamens, how they just jump off the page. They are absolutely beautiful. So it gives you a lot to work with on those. They're absolutely beautiful. And then the back page of that is, again, another subdued background page. And I think this is something I'm noticing more and more, that you've got sides to use if you don't particularly like all the paper in the set. This one has got the fine, tiny little zinnias all over, like little buttons. And then on the other side, this beautiful petal pink. Again, another background piece. Then we have this background. It's got the zinnias in there, and I'm sure you can see it on camera. And this is in the Melon Mambo, and so it's really bright and vibrant. Probably looks a bit more Petunia Pop on screen, but it is Melon Mambo. I don't know if I bring it up closer that you can pick up the colour better. I'm hoping you can. Just let me see. We'll just wait till I catch up a fraction. Yeah, no, it doesn't really show it. So anyway, that's that one. Background. Would you like? And then again, another background. So that's a dual background on there. Then we've got this zinnias. You can fussy cut them out, pop them on a card, and you've got a great little set to go. And again, you've got these stamens just jumping off the page. And then you've got the purple on the other side. Then you've got another background, which is the leaves, and then the green stripe. So as you can see, if I go back this way, and you see those colours, and you get 2 sheets of each. You've got beautiful subtle colours on this side, and then we flip it over and you've got bright, vibrant colours on the other side. So it is absolutely beautiful paper. And as I said, the stamp set, absolutely beautiful. Look at the detail in, I'll just bring that up a little bit. The detail in the stamp is so beautiful. It's a cling stamp, which is our red rubber, and it helps with the detail. Beautiful wording, sending flowers and thinking of you. Words fail to express my gratitude. Thank you so much. And then these little stars in here. And that comes with dies. And at the moment, we still have our 10% off till the end of the month. So if you're wanting to buy this stamps bundle from our online store, if you're wanting to buy it, by buying it as a bundle, you already save 10%. But by buying it as a bundle, you get a further 10% off. So that's 20% off. Oh, you haven't bought the stamp set. Oh, it's very pretty, I can tell you that. I'll show you something afterwards. Okay, and there's the dies. Look at the detail in the dies. And the beauty is these little flowers, if you can see there, look at that. You cut 5 in one pass. Beautiful little leaf details, or you can just use them on their own. And as Lucia pointed out, this looks like a hand waving, and this one, if I bring it up close, have a look at that die. Can you see the little face in there? I'm not sure if he's happy or not amused, but he's got a nice little face on there. Here's my little, he just looks like a little dancing man, so that's what he reminds me of. So I'll pop that away. I've done a lot of the die cutting today just to make it a bit easier because there's a lot of pieces that I've got. Then you also get in the bundle, you get this beautiful embossing folder. Now, a bit of black in there because embossing folders are very hard to see on screen, but if I put a piece of black, you can see the detail in this one. It is absolutely beautiful, and it's just, I think it's a stunning background piece that can be used on any stamp set. And then you also get some gems, and these are adhesive back shiny sequins. So you've got the 4 colours, and it doesn't say on there. So I would call that, I'm not sure if it's sort of like a petunia pop. Then you've got like a lemon lime twist, you've got a daffodil, and I would say either a peach pie or a coral, calypso coral. So that's all the set in the set that's in our online store. So I had a play with it, and the card I'm going to show you today has got lots of bits and pieces, so please bear with me. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I didn't want to use my adhesive sheets. Well, actually, I'll tell you what happened. I will just reach over and grab. I have been busy making certificates for our local calisthenics group. And this is where my adhesive sheets got used. So I have ended up making 50 of these. So I went through a bit of adhesive sheets making these cards for the girls. And these subbies are only 7 to 9, I think they are in the age group. So these are for little girls, and these are for the coaches, so the coaches can say to them, you've done well, and it's something for them to keep. So I've not decorated with lots of bling, because if anyone knows calisthenics, their costumes are beautiful, and they have a lot of bling on the costumes, so we've got to make it on the thing. So that's what I've done. I've kept it reasonably simple, because when you've got 50 to make, it takes a bit of time. So I did print all this out on cardstock, and it made it a little bit easier. So that's what I've been doing, and that's where my adhesive sheets have been going. So instead of ordering 2 packs, I thought one would get me through, but it got me through, but not in advance. Right, now I've got lots of pieces here, so I'm just going to very carefully pop these pieces over here. I should have kept them separate. Okay, so I've got a piece of black cardstock, 21 centimetres by 14.9, and I've scored it at 10.5. I'll just give that a nice burnish. Get that across. Then I've gone and got a piece of granny apple green, and I have cut that at 13.9 by 9.5. Now, whenever you have a layer like this that's going to be hidden, if you're using die cuts, whether it be a sentiment or whatever, this is a great place to cut them out. And I needed some granny apple green. So that's what I've done. So that's going to be our layer. And then I've got a piece of black, which is 13.7 by 9.2. And can you see on there the beautiful detail of that embossing folder? How gorgeous is that? Absolutely beautiful. So that's one side, but then there's the other, the debossed side. Both just as nice, and you can use them whichever way you wish. So it's absolutely beautiful. So I've got that side. So that's going to go on there. And then I'm going to make up, I've got a piece of white for the insert. And then I've taken a small strip of this pattern paper with the zinnias on it. Put it up the right way. And that's going to sit across the bottom here. So that's for our insert. I've got a piece of white for our sentiment. And then I've gone and cut a whole heap of bits and pieces. Now I've cut some flowers out in crushed curry and daffodil delight. Not sure if this is going to work, but I'm going to have a go, because what I want to do is I actually want to intermix the two layers where there's a bit of the daffodil coming through. And I'm going to use a sponge dauber because I want to just sponge it. I had to go, you'll see my prototype, I had to go with the blending brush, but you've got to be so careful that these things don't tear. So I thought this time I might just use a dauber and just bring the colour out. So I'm thinking of doing a layer of, let's see, that's the yellow. Get the colours. Got a layer of crushed curry, and then I thought I would add, because if you look at the zinnias in reality, sometimes they have a bit of different colour in there. So I'm just going to try and work out a way to just fill up the gaps a little bit with a little bit of colour, and then add this to the top. And so that sort of will give it just that little hint of a lighter colour. So we're going to sponge those. As I said, I've got my flowers here. So I'll move them to the side, because before I do any sponging, I want to put together some of the pieces so that the glue has time to dry. So this is going to be a little flower. These are my leaves. And there's my little dancing man that will go with this one. And then we have our centres. And then we have our little, I suppose you'd call it the stamens. Have them there. And then I've got my, get rid of that, 5 little stars, flowers. So I'm going to use them on this piece. So I'm just going to make sure they're all over on the right side. And this is one of the reasons, when you don't have an adhesive sheet, a way to get some things ready so that the glue gets tacky. So, yep, that's turned over. So I'm going to get my glue, and I'm just going to put a tiny dot in there, because I don't want it everywhere. which you just did. I'm just going to put a tiny dot on each of these. And by doing this, and I'm going to allow it to just get tacky. And I can feel one stuck to my finger. Just layer that there because it's the glue is actually on the back, and come back up the way. Just put a tiny dot back on there because I wore most of that. And it just does not want to stay there. Try turning one over, may fit better. Sorry, Kay, I'm not sure what you're referring to in that. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. May have been something that I said before, and the flowers. Oh, that's a good idea. We'll try that. I don't think the zinnias are meant to really stick together like a lot of other flowers. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here and get that tacky. I'm going to flip them over. So these are going to be all a bit tacky. And I'll do the same with this one. Just put a little bit of glue because I want him to stand up a bit. Okay, now before I go any further, I'm going to take, especially with this one, I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to curl the leaves. And I should have, I'm going to use some Winker Stella. And I only just sort of want the Winker Stella at the tips. And it's a lot harder to do when it's already glued together. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Winker Stella just in the tips instead of colouring this one. I'm going to dot a glue. And the one that looks more like a hand is the one that I'm going to use on top of the other flower. Let's take that little bit off. There we go. So I'm just going to take that and pop that together. Just leave that for now to dry. And then I want to give my leaves a little bit of shape. So I'm just going to mould them so that they mould one way and then mould the other. So it gives it a bit of texture there. Mould one way. Sorry, I'm probably doing it off camera, and I don't mean to be doing it off camera. I just sometimes forget where I'm at. That leaf, then do that end, flip it over and do the other end, and that's there. Okay, so I'm going to sort out my flowers, and I'm going to get the crushed curry ones. And I'm going to add a little bit of crushed curry. Just going to use my sponge dauber and just sponge it around. And these thicker ones, I'm going to do much thicker to create the colour in there. So we're just going to create that colour, extend it out to the leaves, keeping it darker in the middle. I'll do that. And then I'm going to take these ones and I'm just going to bring it lighter, coming up like so. And do that. So it's darker on the bottom. So that's my crushed curry ones. Clean my dauber. Now I'm just going to see what you were saying, Kay, about flipping it over. No, I like the dimension that's on the other side, so I'm going to keep it that way. So I'll put those two away. Just grab my chamois and give this a clean. That's lifted that off. Carefully move that so I don't drop anything into it. So I'm going to get my Daffodil Delight. And pick up the colour. And I'm going to use the thick base. But for this one, I'm going to put the colour on the ends. Just to give the ends a bit of colour. So just changing it around. And do the same with another thick base. So as you can see, I cut out a few just in case. And we'll colour those. When you see my prototype, I've gone a little bit different on this one, which we're allowed to. We're demonstrators, we like to give some depth. So I'll close that ink pad up. And then I'm going to get the Granny Apple Green and my sponge dauber. And I probably should have done my little dancing man before. So on the leaves, I'm going to take a decision of where I want a darker shadow. As we know that leaves have shadows. And probably because I've got a bit of an idea of where I'm going to place them, I'm just going to sponge, giving it not a lot, just as you can see, and I've gone off camera, sorry girls. Hello Kim, happy Monday to you too. So there we go. So I'll just get some colour. And now that I've made the decision which side, they're all going to be the same because when we've got sun coming across, it's just got that little bit of green to bring some colour through there. It's not a hard card. Probably the most time-consuming part of the card is actually cutting out the pieces. So there we go. So I'm going to pick up my dancing man and let's hope I can do what I should have done before I glued. I want to put a little bit of ink to the bottom of his leaves, just down here, because they do get partially hidden, but that's why I'm just wanting to do a little bit. You've knocked off work already, have you, Kim? There we go. Just giving that a little bit, so I'll flip that back over. And close that up. Move these to one side for the next project. So I'm going to get these and I'm going to curl the leaves on each of these pieces. So I'm just very gently taking each leaf and I'm going to curl them. And you need to be very, very gentle because they do rip. I hope you had a good day at work. Would have been nice and cold this morning. Okay, so we're just curling the leaves and giving it some texture. Because we all know flowers have their mind of their own. So curl these, let's flip it over. Just gently roll the leaves. So what's people got planned for the week if you're not working? Kim's working. I know that Jacinta's working. That'll be then there. The plan is coming together. Don't you love it when a plan works out? All right, we're just going to curl that. And putting 3 layers on this flower. Because if you look at zinnias in real life, they're quite a large, thick flower. Absolutely beautiful. I've never grown them. Kay, you're an avid gardener. Have you grown zinnias? Okay, we'll flip that over. We'll just do the other flower now. Flip those over. That there. Obviously, I've used some scrap paper. I don't think you're going to see that on the underneath part. You won't. Right, there we go. So I'm going to get a little bit of glue and just put a small amount in the centre, and then I'm going to take this other one and I'm going to look at the leaves. So I reckon roughly if I work about where the leaves are in there, it should give me, fill the gaps. And I'm not worried if they don't, because there we go. I should be able to cover it with the other ones. It's just going to fill a little bit more room. So you can see I've got that lighter Daffodil Delight in the middle to give it a little bit. Yeah, they are a beautiful plant. So have you got mixed colours, Kay, or have you got just the one colour? I'm going to put a little bit more glue in here. And I'm going to look for a thicker leaf, try and help cover in there, and pop it like so. So there we go. So there's my take of a zinnia. With just that little bit of added colour in the middle. Put this one together. And pop the pieces, make sure I've got the right piece with the right piece so that they fit together. There we go. Creating that little bit of a, what's that? Oh, you've had mixed, but some died. Yeah. I reckon probably some of the lighter colours might be the more difficult to grow. I think they would have a mind of their own, like a lot of lighter colour plants. I know I've had various plants in white, and they've just not been the best. Okay, so there we go. So there's the zinnias. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my centre. So as you can see on my silicone mat that I've used this and it's gone clear. It means it's tacky, and I'll grab that. I'm going to pop that in the centre of both of them. And remember, I've got to be in there. So I've used Melon Mambo for the centres. And then I've got Daffodil Delight for, I presume that they're the stamens that are in the flower. So there you go. There's my flowers. Now I'm just going to get my Winker Stella and I'm going to add a little bit of wink onto the stars. And again, it was probably something I should have done prior, but I can do it there. So as you can see, it just gives that little bit of glitter, and let's face it, us girls need glitter. So you can see that, just making sure the camera catches up so that you can see it. I'm not sure if you can, I hope you can. So you get that glitter look. So I'll do the same with the other one. I'm just dabbing my Winker Stella on there for the stamen. Now I'm going to very carefully lift this over. I'm not going to stick it down. And I'm going to take my flowers and I'm going to adhere the 5 flowers to this fine leaf. And it's really a leaf detail, but it also makes a lovely fine sprig. So I'm going to put one in there, and I think I'll pop one there. Just carefully lift that up. And that's the beauty of the silicone mat. It allows it to be lifted up. So I'm going to take this one. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit of Winker Stella on these particular stars as well. Keep that theme inside on there. Now I'm going to put a little dab of glue just in here. And I'm going to take my Dancing Man, because that's what he reminds me of. And then I'm just going to put the face part of this little character, the base of the flower, just put it down. And because it will just sit there like that. So there's our pieces all put together. So from that jumbled mess, we have got some pretty flowers. So now I'm going to glue my layers. I'm nearly out of ink. I cut open a bottle of ink the other day and I was amazed at how far that went. I really couldn't believe it. Okay, so I'll put that across. And as you saw, I only put glue on the edges because if I'd gone in here, we'd have had glue everywhere. Just a very fine border around the edge. Let's lift that out. And then I'm going to add dimensionals and put this up on dimensionals. And this is a card which is, I think, lots of layers and lots of colour that we can do. I'll pop that there. And don't forget, using your Take Your Pick tool is a perfect way of taking the backs off. And when you, and that one's going to make a liar of me. When you get them, you can pick up more than one at a time. So you're not dropping them. They're staying all together. And you've got them. And I've got one of these little, I don't know what you'd call it. But anyway, I just pop my backs into that, and then when it gets pretty full, I take it out to the bin. And I still find an odd one or two in the house, but not as many as I used to. So we're now going to layer this evenly and have that sit like so. So you can see that beautiful texture in there. Now I'll take my dimensionals and I'm going to put one on the back of the flowers. And actually, before I take that off, I'll slip that back on. I want to stamp my sentiment. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this absolutely, what I think is really sweet, thank you so much, from this set. Now, I don't know about you, I'm not very good at stamping straight. So I found, put it the right way, Anita. So I'll put this where you can see. I find if I put thank you and line it up, that it's straight. I then take my block and I put my block on an angle. When I do this, I seem to stamp straight. What's the logic behind it? I have no idea. So I'm going to emboss. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy to remove any static fingerprints or whatever, and get my Versamark and stamp that. I'm stamping it over towards the right side, and you'll see why when I do it. Put that down. I'm now going to get my couldn't find my embossing powder. Come back in here. I'm going to cover the embossing powder in the black. And that is perfect. Not even any scraggles. I'll just go over it one more time. One tiny, tiny little scraggle. Okay. Next, I think I might have bumped a little bit. There we go. Chip that back into there. And get my heat gun. Just can't find the brush that I'm looking for. So, I can't find my brush. And I don't know if you can see, I've got a couple of little strays. You should take your pick tool, the putty end, and then you can just pick them up. And a little stubborn one, there we go. Take that off. Hopefully this won't make too much noise. And we're just going to heat emboss this. And the beauty about this particular stamp set is the mixture of fonts that you get. And when you heat emboss, the beauty that you have is that you watch it go from dull to shiny. And there we go. Got it beautifully done. and I'll grab my mini. Now, also at the moment, one of the things that you can get is our mini and large embossing machine, and they are both 10% off. That's never happened. So if you're thinking about an embossing machine, this is the time to get one. So I've got a set of dies, which I had here a moment ago. Here they are, called Unbounded Love. And with this Unbounded Love, they've got beautiful little dies, and they're all labels of different sorts. So I'm just going to use this particular label, and I'm going to cut out my embossed image. So plate 3, a grey plate, helps it go through and come into camera view. Plate 2, I get my image, and I'm going to have that like so into that corner, probably not so much. Make sure it's straight. Now what I do to make sure it's straight is I lie it across the top and then move it up so that I've got it straight. And when I'm happy with that, I'll pop my other plate on top and just put this through. And I'll just, hopefully I don't wobble the camera too much for you. And have a look at that. Isn't that a beautiful label? Absolutely beautiful. So I'll pop that aside. Move these. And close that. Okay, now we're ready to assemble. So we've got this down. Now what I want to do is, this is going to sit here at the bottom, just like so. And I'm going to put that down first so that I can do all the rest around it. And when I show you my prototype, when I did it originally, I did the flowers first, and what ended up happening was I had it a little bit too high. So I'm going to pop that down just there. So this is where I'm going to work from. So there's the one with the, take the back off, and I'm going to place one there. Get a backing for this one. Take that off, and that's going to sit like so. Then I'm going to take my leaves, and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on these. So I'm just going to put this is about to run. Whoops, that's what I was worried about. Just going to take a bit of glue off. And I'm just going to take one leaf, and I'm going to sit that here in the middle. And I want to keep, probably might put a little bit of glue there on the bend. I want to keep that look where it's coming up. And then this other one, I'll put a tiny little bit on that, just on that where it's bent up. Just bring it up. Sorry, darlings, I don't mean to do that to you. And this one's going to sit just in here, like so. And then I'm going to take my third one, just a dab of glue. And that one is going to sit half over the sentiment. So you can see why I've used the sentiment. So then I'm going to take this one, which we've already gone tacky. I'm going to take him, and I'm going to slide him in place just over this side. The leaves I'm leaving as they are. I want them to come out. And then I'm going to get this one, which we've got nice and tacky. I'm going to take it. I'm just going to take it up here. So fine. And I'm going to pop that in there like so, and adhere to the page. And And there's my flowers there. What do you think so far? Right, now I'm going to take our gems and I'm going to use the pink ones. And the reason I want to do the pink is because I think it will allow that colour to come through. I mean, I think the yellow is a little bit too much. Oh, actually, I did use the pink before. I might go with the lighter yellow. So I'm going to put one big one in here. Then I'm going to use 5 on this one. So I'm going to take a couple of little ones and just have them here. And then I'm just going to work out where I want to put the other 2. So I'm going to put one there and one there. So it's still giving a bit of a triangle effect. So there's the front of our card. So as you can see, you've got the colour. Now I'll go and put the insert. So I'm going to put this strip of designer series paper. Now I know it's a bit longer than what my insert is, so I'm inclined to put a strip of adhesive. I don't want it completely at the bottom. Just going to line that up. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim the excess. And then I'm just going to glue that to the inside of the card. There we go. I think I have enough just to squeeze through today. Now pop my insert right way up into the card and pop it like so. So I've got that on the inside. So there's our card. And this was the one I originally did. As you can see, this has got the pink. And this one I've just added a little bit more glitter than what I had on the first one. And again, I've embossed the background, whereas I didn't on the first one. Both of them have got the same piece on the inside. So there's the cards. Then I made a couple beforehand. So I did a lovely one here. And Lucia, have a look at the beautiful stamp. And I've just used a bit of Wink Stella here to drag out a little bit of colour to give it a touch. And that's just using a very small piece of paper with white on the background. And then this one is a little lock gatefold. So lift that up, it slides out, and we've got in there. Here I've fussy cut some flowers and put them through. And the sentiment is sending flowers and thinking of you. And what I did with this one was I did the sending flowers using the Stamp and Write marker and stamped that on some scrap paper and fussy cut it. And then I cleaned it and then I used and thinking of you for the inside of the flower, of the card. And then that was another one. So this is what I've done. So this is using the designer series paper and this is using your dies. And I love this set and I have to thank Lucia for getting me into this. And as I said, because this one's got the bit of daffodil underneath compared to this one, it's given it a totally different look. And I think that's really marvellous. So I just want to remind everyone again, bundles, to get your die and stamp set bundle, you get a further 10% off. And you also get 10% off the die cutting and emboss machines. So that's it for today for me. So I hope you've had a great time and have enjoyed it. and I look forward to seeing you all next week. So bye for now, everyone. Thanks for watching.